a desire to learn. But there's this other side where they feel sometimes they are forced to learn. And you know, when you are forced, it makes a difference. It's harder for them and it's harder for the so because they needed to communicate, you know, they put all their effort to learn.
There are people in the dominant culture or the American culture that say, well, these people, they don't want to learn English. They don't want to learn another language. They are not willing to learn because if they learn, then they have to get a job and get off welfare. Do you think that's a stereotype, or you think there's an element of truth in that?
I think that's a stereotype. It is a stereotype because our women, you know, they know that they have to learn and you know, and they need a job and they need to learn English. It's a stereotype.
It is, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because do you find that the women that you come in contact with that are single parents, that have many children, do you feel that they're women that are struggling to maintain their homes, to maintain their children? Do you see in them a spirit of struggle and that they're having great difficulties in surviving more than the average person?
Yes, they have a greater difficulty because I mean, you know, these women have number one. Number one factor is they don't know the language, so that makes it difficult. Number two, they come from, I mean, their basic skills in education are very low, so that makes it greater, you know, a disadvantage for them. And they struggle because they have kids. I mean, you know, kids 5 year, 1 year old, you know, very little kid. And you know, they have to be babysit by someone who is not, you know, someone, you know, who is not a family member, and they are struggling, you know, like any other working women here in New York.
Mm.
So in a way, they are struggling.
Okay. You that are seeing these women on a daily basis, you interact with them, you know them really, not just by reference, but you know many of them personally, and you've
Exactly.
developed relationships with them, and they look up to you possibly as a role model and as a status symbol.
Exactly.
Do you find there's a contradiction in this society? Because many of the leading spokespersons in this society of values, and especially those that are conservative, say that it's better for a woman to stay at home and raise their children. But when it comes to our women, they say, no, that staying at home means that they're lazy. Do you see a contradiction in that?
You know, I believe that women should go out and get educated, and they can become good mothers and good workers and good professionals. So, I mean, you know, sometimes, you know, I contradict myself too, because I mean, there's a need, you know. I took a 2 week off vacation because I needed to be home close to my kids and close to my husband. But I also need this professional, you know, job that I need to, you know, in order to survive. And so I think women now, I mean, can play both parts. They can become mothers, you know, and professionals too.
And workers.
Yeah.
But do you think that the society is hypocritical because out of one side of its mouth it's saying, no, children need one parent home, mothers should stay home, but then those mothers that are staying home and are on welfare, they criticize them. Do you think that's a contradiction? I just wonder sometimes because I see them saying both things. I see them saying you should stay home. That's the ultimate. A child needs their mother home. But then those women that are staying home, they say that they're lazy and that they're not doing any valuable work.
Well,
it seems to me that that's a lie because to take care of a child is hard work. No?
Let me tell you something. No one has ever considered a housewife a full-time job, but it is, and nobody pays a full-time, you know, housewife. I think staying at home takes, I mean, it's one of the greatest jobs. I mean, you know, you're a mother,
It's
You're a
real work.
counselor, you're a wife, you work in the house, and nobody pays that.
And it's real work,
And
right?
it's real work. So if a
Right.
mother stays home, I think the working,
She should be valued,
she
right?
should be valued, of
Yeah.
course.
I see that too, because sometimes I myself have fallen into the
Yeah.
same trap where you say, well, she doesn't work,
Mm-hmm.
she stays home. But
Yeah,
if you
but
would
the
have
reason-
paid,
Mhm.
if you would have paid for someone to wash your clothes, to cook
Exactly.
your meals,
Mhm.
to clean your house, you would probably have to pay the person $300 or $400 a week.
Exactly.
No,
Yes.
and so
Yeah.
there seems to be a contradiction.
Yeah, but I mean, those women who stay home, they must have somebody who can support them too.
That's right. And
They
the
cannot,
government doesn't
you know,
want to. That's right.
No.
Do you find that when women in your class begin to learn English, their self-esteem grows?
Yes. They feel like they're really doing something for themselves. They're not just coming to our program, because they are forced to. But when they learn English, they feel, they own something, they own a language, they feel they can communicate, they feel proud of themselves, and their attitude changes. They have a positive attitude about, all the program, and first of all about themselves and the program.
So they feel proud in being a part of it.
Exactly.
You also give them job preparation skills, right?
Yes, at my job, I don't do that. There's a job developer. But in my class, yes, we do what we call job readiness,
Right.
where we help them how to fill out applications, job applications, and how to go to an interview. We prepare them with questions, how to answer in the class. But there's a job developer. There are two job developers who do that. They prepare students with interviews.
Interviewing skills,
Yes.
yeah. One of the interesting things, because you are a committed Christian, because you are an artist, because you sing for the Lord, this type of work where you interact with people gives you the opportunity to share the Lord, right?
Exactly. I do it every single day of my life. I have to do it. I have to do it because my students come to me, they say all the time, I don't feel well. I have a problem. And sometimes they tell me I'm the first one who they tell before they go to the counselor. I mean, I have to hear their headaches, their stomach aches, their depressions. So what I do sometimes, I usually do this. My boss doesn't say anything, but it's like there's a must that I have to, talk about the Lord and say, if you believe in God, pray. Before you go to bed, you should pray. A prayer is a healing